Welcome to another episode of Fresh Off the Set. I'm Alora Marie. Thank you so much for joining me today. Okay, so today we are talking about something a little personal, growth. Now, most personal growth assumes, something is wrong with you. But what if you're not broken, just misunderstood by yourself? So in this conversation, my co-host Brooke Mangum speaks with Coach Kate Strong to explore the shift from self-improvement to self-understanding. Because real change doesn't come from trying harder, it comes from finally understanding how you're wired. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me, you start asking, how am I designed? When you see yourself clearly, everything changes. Your choices, relationships, and confidence. So let's take a listen.
You've seen her on the show, and now we get some real time with her. Kate Strong is here. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Grateful and happy and excited to have a conversation that's more than 3 minutes.
Oh, man, we're going to deep dive, Kate. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of it today because this topic is so huge. And I just want to take a second and just read this so that people can, and let this just sit and sink in because it's major. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You need to understand yourself. Whoosh, right? Like that's the moment. I want Kate, take us through that statement because it is so major. And I think a lot of people right now need to hear this more than ever.
We have heard our whole lives what we should be doing, what our lives should look like, what success is supposed to feel and look like. But all of that is coming from outside, someone who doesn't even know us. And the truth is, the more we know ourselves and every part of ourselves and can accept the good, the bad, the ugly, the parts that we want to celebrate, the strengths, the weaknesses, all of that, which we all have, what we learn and we understand is there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed. I just need to understand myself better.
The call is coming from inside the house, right?
Yes.
That's what it is.
It is an inside job.
It is an inside job. And the only way that we are going to be able to get through it is getting to know ourselves better.
Yes.
How major is this? So I want to talk a little bit about how you came up with this and the whole story that brought you here, because I think there's so many of us right now that are feeling lost or they're going through a hard time. I know that when I have moments of like just hard times, I always come back to you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. That's my inner tape. That's like, hey, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing too much too far. You're not being a good enough mom because you're working too hard. And then you end up feeling like you're just stretched so thin and it's triage and everybody is bleeding out, right? Tell us a little bit about how you came to be with this theory and how you're going to be able to help people get through this thing called life.
Well, this is a great question because I did believe I was broken and I did believe I needed to be fixed. I was going through a divorce and I left religion at the same time. And I felt that feeling of what did I do?
Talk about an identity crisis,
Absolutely.
right? I think a lot of times we latch on to who we're with, what we do for a job, to what we believe in, right?
Yeah. And my parents had been divorced and I said, I'm never going to do that. So I felt like a failure and I felt like I had gotten it wrong. Like, how did this happen to me too? And so coming from that, I want you to know I feel you, I hear you, I see you, you are me. That's what sparked something inside of me. So I went on this self-discovery, right? Self-help journey. I think many of us have done that. You read the books, you listen to the podcast, you go to the webinar or the seminar, you show up at the retreat, right? Like all the things. And I would have these moments of clarity of like, okay, I know what to do now. I know what to do now. And then I would go back to my same environment, the same people, the same situations. And within a week, I'm back to my old habits, old behaviors, getting triggered, responding the same way, getting frustrated with my kids, feeling guilty. And actually, there was a bigger disconnect because it felt like, well, you know better now, Kate.
Isn't that the truth? I feel like the more awake you get, right, the more we're even more hard on ourselves, where we find our faults even larger because I know better, but I just can't seem to break this pattern. So how are you helping people really get under the hood and finally shed those stories and break those patterns?
So what we have to do is get to know ourselves.
Oh, but that's scary, Kate.
Totally, because here's the thing. The truth is you're the problem, but you're also the solution.
Ooh, that hits right there. Ooh.
Right? It's ownership. It's radical ownership. And we all have it. We all have it. But the reality is it doesn't all look the same. There's no one size fits all. We're all very, very unique. Our upbringing was different. Our relationships are different. Our energy is different. What motivates us, what lights us up, how we move through the world based off our childhood experience, our strengths, our weaknesses. We're born with certain strengths, things that we're just really, really good at that we devalue because we feel like it's too easy. And we've been taught you have to work hard.
Right.
You got to earn that. So it's the complete opposite because everything we've been told, we've actually been sold a lie. We've been sold a lie.
We've been duped.
We've been duped. And so you said it. It's like we're doing all this. You're trying harder. You're putting in more effort. And we really, truly just want to feel a certain way. We want to feel that satisfaction from the effort that's being put out, or we want to have that quality relationship. We want to find the love of our lives. We want to have that career that feels purposeful.
We all want to be happy, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everyone just wants love and happy and to be comfortable. You said something so interesting to me that I want to talk about is that we've been trained to devalue the things we're good at. And that's so major because I was just thinking, like, what would our lives be if I only did what I was really good at all day long? Well, I would feel great. I would feel like a rock star, right? Everybody, when you get in that flow state, when you know you're just nailing it, that feels like just perfect. But I always end up focusing on the thing that, well, I did, that went great, but I didn't do that.
Yeah.
That's it. And then I'm left with the nasty sandwich, right?
Exactly.
That's it.
So here's the thing. In the 1950s, there was a psychiatrist. His name's Don Clifton. And he said, what if instead of studying what's wrong with people, we study what's right with people?
Oof.
Right? And you remember this when you brought home your report card as a kid?
Yeah.
Back in the day? All A's and a D. What'd your parents focus on?
The D. It was like the A's meant nothing, right?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you did all this, but this right here, you need to work on this. You need to try harder. You need to be better.
Put in more time, more effort, more energy, try harder. What if instead it's just information and your parents were like, oh, well, clearly math's not your thing, but you're really, really great at English and writing and focusing on the good. This is why we are the way that we are. You can go all the way back to childhood. You can go all the way back to the feedback teachers were giving you, leaders in your community were giving you, neighbors, different people. It's like if we sucked at something, it wasn't just like, oh, yeah, that's not your thing. Move on. It was like, well, you totally suck at that. You need to put in more time and energy and work harder.
You need to make it your thing.
Yes.
And at that point, you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole, right? It's just such a mind-blowing thing when you really think about it. I know there's a lot of people out there right now that are thinking, okay, like I'm dissatisfied with my life, right? Maybe I'm unhappy in this relationship. I'm unhappy in the relationship with myself. But starting this journey is daunting. Mm-hmm. And where do you start? When you start working with someone, how do you tap in and really start this journey?
Well, I always start with the clarity code because I want not only people to understand themselves better, but I want to understand them better so I can support them and help them and work with them. We've got all these stories, right? All these stories about, why things happened and why we're the way we are and what he said and what she said and if that, fill in the blank. Well, the stories are just keeping us stuck in the pattern. They're keeping us stuck in, there's the definition of insanity, right? Which is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Well, that's what we're doing. And so when you get your clarity code and when you look at this is who I am, all of it, heads, tails, strengths, weaknesses, all of it, then you can fully accept this is who I am, right?
And now you know what to work with.
Absolutely. And that's empowering. And I feel like also we just want to be seen, right? And we want to be told that you're not broken and you're not doing it wrong. You just need to turn and look at a different perspective, right? So the way we start, first of all, is curiosity. Just being curious. I wonder how I'm designed. I wonder how my energy works, right?
It's like taking those quizzes when we were in magazines when we were a kid. Like, it's so fascinating to know, like, what makes you tick.
Yes. And then you feel seen. You're like, yes, I feel seen. I feel understood. They got it right. That is who I am. So we stop outsourcing. We stop asking everyone else, what do you think? Even, what do you think about my relationship? No one knows the details, the intimacy of what's going on in your relationship, and you're giving them one side.
Yeah.
So you're not actually getting great advice anyway.
Please tell me how I'm right.
Right?
That's what you're asking.
Yes. Yeah, please be my number one ride or die that's going to just fan my flame and tell me how great I am.
Everybody needs that.
Right. So then what happens? You go find the same relationship and the same pattern, and you get the same results. And here you are again. You're like, it must be me. Finally, must be me. Maybe it's not them. So the clarity code allows you to look at yourself clearly. It's like your thumbprint, right?
Yeah.
There's no one size, one way. Everybody's is different. And there's a lot of things that create this clarity code, right? It's, well, your strengths, what you were born with, but also, what are you not great at? And that's as powerful as knowing what you're good at, so you can know what to say no to. I think about this a lot. I coach young adults who are graduating from high school and entering into adulthood because they're really trying to figure out who they are, how they want to, create the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And everybody's been giving them input, like, you should be a doctor, you'll make a lot of money, or maybe everybody in the family's been an attorney, you should do that, or, you have such a great voice going to broadcasting, whatever it might be. Again, it's external input coming in, defining and telling us what we should be and who we should be. But instead, when I sit down with these young adults and I go through their clarity code, we focus as much on what they're not good at so they can know what to say no to. And I talk to them about being interviewed for a job, and I'll say, hey, you're not just getting picked for this job. You're trying to find out if they're a good fit for you too.
Yeah.
And how empowering would it be if you had like this 19, 20-year-old come into you and say, hey, I'm not going to do that for you, even though you want me to, and even though we don't have anyone here to do it, because I actually suck at it, and it's going to take me twice as long and cost you twice as much, and you're not going to like the results, but let me tell you what I'm really good at. I'd be like, yes, take
let me
over.
know where you go on the field, right? Like understanding the type of player you are. As you're saying things like clarity code, I want to make sure we really get into the nitty gritty of it. So what is the clarity code? How did it come together? When somebody's actually doing this before they're working with you, like what are the steps so they really understand what is the clarity code?
Yeah, I'll tell you where I started. So back to when I went through my divorce and left religion 12 years ago, I really felt like a failure. I was like, I didn't get it right, so I need to figure out what's wrong with me. I was first introduced to something called the Clifton Strength Assessment, and it's an assessment that you take. You're just answering. It's all preference. It's just, what do you prefer, You want to stay in on a Friday night and read a book? You want to go out and dance with your friends? You want to, what do you prefer?
Who are you?
Yes, and based off all these preferences and just what you enjoy, what feels good to you, you get these results. And so I was using it in business. I was the CEO of a company, and I wanted to maximize the success of the company. So we had a certified Clifton Strength coach come in, do the assessment for everyone, and put everyone in their different positions based off their strengths, but also we knew what they weren't great at, and it's like, keep them away from that. And what I noticed is, oh, wow, this is actually maximizing our productivity, our success, all of these different things. Then I moved into another experience where I pulled in another assessment, and it's called predictable success. And basically, if you're going to have a successful organization, group, whatever it might be, you need to have these 4 specific things and these 4 roles and knowing who goes where. So I used it in business first, and I found it to be really, really helpful in the world of business. And then I got super curious about my childhood, right? Because relationships, and we show up as our ugliest selves.
Yes, right. The 6 months in is when you really start showing them who you really are. The honeymoon phase is over.
Really? It's like, let me just show you my vulnerable, raw, ugly side, right? My impatience, or this needy side of me, or, this jealousy because I'm so afraid that you're going to leave me.
Because I don't feel worthy.
Right. But a lot of times we don't start with worthy. We just start with, insecurity.
Yeah.
Or whatever it might be. So as you really dive into that, there's this assessment. You may or may not have ever heard of it, but it's called the Enneagram. And it tells you how you perceive the world and what motivates you based off your childhood experience.
Ooh,
so
that's a big one, right? That's what the tools you come with.
that's what was infiltrated and what you were rewarded with and how you received love or how you didn't receive love your entire childhood. And it shows up the most in relationships. What the Enneagram shows is what your heads is, but also what your tails is, right? So I'll give you an example. An Enneagram 3 is an achiever.
Okay.
So if you grew up and your parents were really excited and told everyone how awesome you were and told you how awesome you were every time you achieved something, you interpreted that as this is how I receive love.
Right.
And this is where my value is based off what I achieve. Well, as you get older, what happens is you're achieving a lot. You're really successful probably in your career. But this feeling of perfection and having to achieve to be worthy is so off balance that you're either exhausted, overworking, overachieving, your relationships are struggling, you feel depleted, and you just feel like the only way you have any value is if you're achieving something. So you can never,
Burnout, right?
Exactly.
It's the only way. Or you'll always keep chasing and never feel enough.
Yeah.
Right? I feel that.
and my ideal client is an executive, someone who has it all. They have the house, they have the car, they have the family. Everyone on the outside is looking and going, they've made it. That's what I've been trying to be my whole life. But they feel such a deep, deep feeling of dissatisfaction. And they keep feeling like, well, if I get this, I'll feel great. If I do, and they keep going up the ladder and they keep achieving and they keep having more success, and they're still like feeling empty. Like,
well, and the terror too of realizing every time you hit something and you're still that way, you're like, oh no, maybe I'm just like this. Maybe I'm never going to be happy.
I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. Those people are absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
Exhausted.
I'm exhausted thinking about it.
Absolutely. So that's information, right? Again, and looking at that is not comfortable.
That's what I was going to say. Is I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like, yes, I'm feeling dissatisfied with my life. I want to change. But I think a lot of us have a hard time really looking at ourselves, right? And we maybe think that we are looking at ourselves, but we're not, right? So how do you get over that hurdle to really help people see themselves so that they can start to understand themselves?
Yeah. Well, you have to take the shame out of it, right? There's no shame attached to that. It just is. It's just life. And we all have it. That's the other piece of it. It's like there's not one person that doesn't have this heads and that tails side. We all have it. So if you can have radical self-acceptance of just like, it is what it is. This is who I am. Everybody has it. I want to stop ignoring these parts of myself because clearly the results that I'm getting are not working. I'm not feeling good. So I'm ready to look at this. And then you can look at it with a lot of self-compassion and love because we're doing the best we can. And we're actually doing way more than we need to. And I hate this word, but I'm going to say it should be doing because we're just exhausted. But it's like being on that hamster wheel, when you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you're like, eventually I'll get there.
And your base gets higher and higher, right? Like it's like if I do less than my base, then I'm not trying hard enough, right?
Oh, and the guilt of just not doing, right? Just sitting still and trusting.
What do I do with my hands?
Exactly. Like I just got to keep going. But how many people are on anxiety and depression medicine, right? Because we're just told that you just got to keep going. And instead of listening and tuning in and going within, we keep outsourcing, even going, and asking the doctor, what's wrong with me? I've got a client who was in tears yesterday. She's a therapist and her daughter is having all these autoimmune diseases, all these things coming up. They've been to every doctor, every specialist. They're like, we can't tell you what's wrong with you. And listen, I want to tell you this right now. I'm no doctor, but I have spent over a decade in this work, and the body keeps the score. And what's happening is there is emotional and mental trauma in this girl's life that she has not felt safe in her body to feel and express, and her body is trying to scream and say, help, help, help. And the doctors are like, we don't know what's wrong. But
it's so scary.
It's so scary because, again,
makes it even worse for you.
We're so used to outsourcing. The professional will know, right? The professional's going to know. My boss will know, or this author will know, or Tony Robbins will know, whoever, just like ask someone else, they'll tell you. But the real truth is it's an inside job.
And how do we dive into that inside? I know how do we learn how to have stillness within ourselves? That is a huge question. I realize what is your tips for finding stillness within, especially from the moments we're panicking most?
So I first want to tell you that it's hard. It's very, very, very uncomfortable. But we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is our nervous system, okay, our energetic body, the nervous system is what's running everything. So even if you do go to that Tony Robbins event or read that book or listen to our podcast today, you're going to have some insight, some aha clarity. You're going to go, okay, yeah, I feel that. Something in that feels true.
The dopamine hits too of I'm seen.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like that too.
And so that happens. So acknowledge it. And the nervous system, the energetic body, is still on that old programming. So the subconscious brain has two functions: to keep you safe and to prove you right. Dr. Joe Dispenza says we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 90% are the same thing we thought the day before. So we're robots.
Wow.
We're hardwired to do the thing we've always done. So when the clarity comes and you have the aha moment, even the clarity code, you're going to see this and go, whoa, wow. But what we have to do is upgrade the nervous system to match this new awareness, this new clarity, this new mindset. Yeah. So first of all, you just have to know that you're going to freak out and you're going to get triggered.
Real you are, Kate. It's my favorite.
And you're going to get activated and you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, this is so uncomfortable. So then in that moment, you just notice, okay, what do I typically do? Do I go to the pantry and grab a snack? Do I want to go get a drink? Do I want to pour myself a glass of wine? Do I want to go on a walk? Do I feel like I need to work out? Do I need to call a friend and have a conversation? Anything we do to outsource, to get away, to run away.
To numb.
I'm an Enneagram 7 girl. I know this. I don't want to feel pain. So this is literally my life's work. But to just sit there and breathe and hold yourself and say, it's okay, sweetheart. You're going to be okay. Just breathe. You're going to be okay. And what will happen is it usually only takes about 60 to 90 seconds. That emotion will move through your body. But you have to sit with it, and you're going to hate it for 60 to 90 seconds. And if you want to scream, scream. But what will usually happen is you'll usually start to cry because the body needs to release and let go of what you've been holding on to. And it has to purge. It has to let go. It has to release. It's a clearing. It's a cleansing. You think about springtime and the rain and how it just cleans and clears everything. And if you can think about tears as that same thing, it's just washing away. It's just cleansing and clearing. So I wish I could tell you there was a magic pill or a thing that you could do to make it feel really good. And there are things that we do to try to make it feel really good, but we're just swallowing it and pushing it down. It's going to eventually manifest itself as dis-ease in the body or a rash or weight. Yeah. A lot of people can't lose weight, and they're doing the thing. They're like, I am doing the diet and the exercise, and I can't lose weight. It's emotional. It's emotional. It's some trauma or something that the body is holding on to, and we just need to sit with ourselves. Oftentimes, it's if you've ever heard of internal family systems and parts work, that's a lot of work I do as well. And it's going back to this past version of ourselves, which, again, the nervous system, the energetic body. So we just have to allow ourselves to just be with the discomfort. And then when we have the clarity code and we can look at, oh, this is my pattern. Okay, so I'm now aware. I know what happens. And then I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to allow it to move, or I'm going to do something different. Then we start to change behavior, and patterns start to change, and we start to get that upgrade with our nervous system. And that's when we actually start to feel better and get this happiness and this joy and this fulfillment that we want in life.
What happens when we finally get to know ourselves? And I think that's an ongoing thing, right? Because you change. We were joking that we're different people in the summer than we are in the winter. So I think but what happens to us when we finally get to know ourselves? And then at the end of that, I want to share how we can follow you, work with you, and really tap into this clarity code that you've told us so much about.
Honestly, the first thing you're going to do is just exhale and go, I don't have to do more. Okay, I get to do less, and I get to slow down, and I get to take a breath, and I actually get to be here and present and listening and aware to the people that I love, and you just start to feel relief. And that feeling of being stuck all the time you just realize I'm not stuck. I just need to stop outsourcing things. And now I'm going within, and the satisfaction and the joy and the fulfillment starts to come. And again, we expect the triggers to come. We expect this old stuff to come back up.
Life will still happen
It
to
will.
you even
Expect
when you
it.
have the tools.
Expect it. But you're not doing it wrong, and you don't need to be fixed because you're not broken.
Woo, how does that feel? Living life with ease. I know I have loved this conversation, so thank you so much for having this with me. How can I follow you? How can people be a part of your life? You've got an app coming out. Let's hear about that.
I do. So follow me at Kate Strong World on Instagram. I'm also Facebook. You can email me. I'm not great at that. My assistant will get it and let me know, though. So just follow me on Instagram. I also recently created a Substack if you like to read or have a meditation or, watch me there. It's called Everyday Medicine, how to integrate all of this Clarity Code. The Clarity Code, I am creating an app, and that is ready to go. So let's figure you out. Let's let you see who you are. Let's give you an opportunity to understand yourself better so you can stop trying harder and work smarter.
I love it. Let's both get to know you,
Yes.
especially you yourself. Kate, thank you so much for being here. What a beautiful message. We so appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.